What is going on, guys? Healy here, and today I have the best pitching tips for you. I'll be going over what settings I use and my strategy to every batter. Before we get into this, I do have a best settings video where I go over best fielding settings, pitching settings, and batting settings. And I also have the best hitting tips, which is a more in-depth on the hitting settings. This video is going to be more in-depth on the pitching settings. And for pitching practice, I would recommend going over to custom practice, choosing what teams you want to use. We are going to be using, we'll go with the Rangers, and then we will use the Cubs. We are in practice mode now. If you hit the options button, you can create a play. You can set it to batting or pitching. We're going to have repeat play on. We'll use Bob Gibson. He is pretty much the best pitcher in the game. He's on one of the legend teams. We moved him over to the Cubs. And we are going to use, we're going to go up against Elvis Andrus. For the options for gameplay for pitching, I play on pure analog. So that means when I pitch a baseball, that's what you're looking at when you pitch. We'll throw it out of the zone right here. So when you start your pitch, you go down on the right stick. When you get to the yellow spot, you push it up and then towards the red circle. There's also pulse, where you're trying to get the black circle as small as possible right here. Not the best for accuracy, but it's definitely one of the easiest ones to use. For meter, you put the ball in the spot that you want it, and then you're going to hit X, try to get it in the dark red. That's your throwing speed. I messed up right there. And afterwards, you got to try to get it. Whoa. Afterwards, you got to try to get it to hit the yellow. Never use meter for Hall of Fame difficulty. So it's a little fast right now. As you can see, though, if you are off on the meter, it is going to go all over the place. Like I said, the difficulty moving super fast. I don't use meter. I'm not that good with it. And then with classic, you just put it in a spot, hit X, and it'll go near that location. It's kind of like pulse, but I'm unsure how it works. You just place it in a spot, and then it somewhat gets close depending on the pitcher that you have. As you saw right there, that one was left in the zone quite a bit. So we're going to leave it on pure analog pitching feedback. There's outfield, which is this angle. You can see it behind the menu right here. You have broadcast, which is what it's normally on. But the problem is, as you can see, Bob Gibson's head is right here. You can see the pitch fine and all that, but visually, I just don't like him. That he's covering it right there. We're going to step off. There's pitcher offset, which might be a little bit better. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Personally, I like sticking with outfield. Some people like pitching it on strike zone as well, because you get to see exactly what your opponent's seeing from these pitches. Some people like it a little bit back. They might have it on zoom. But like I said, they'll be able to see exactly what your opponent sees. So if you have a nasty pitch, you'll be able to recognize that. Pitch trail is on. It's defaulted to fade. If you leave it on fade, the ball disappears and you don't know where it is anymore. With the with pitch trail on, it's automatically going to stay there. Pitching confidence, that doesn't really matter. But getting into the pitches, fastballs, especially with a high velocity guy against a right-handed hitter, you're going to want to throw it inside. Try to get it against the paint. Try to get it maybe a little inside. I would not recommend leaving it in the zone at all, because if people are sitting fastballs, they're able to crush it. But if you can get it close and out of the zone, it'll look close enough that people will offer at it, and you should be able to get a lot of jammed outs, a lot of broken bats like this one. Baez, easy play at second base. We're going to Nolan Ryan now because he has a couple of other pitches. Changeups, I would recommend going inside because they look like a fastball. Some people might offer at them. And I've noticed that Throwing it away, people are able to hit it a little bit more. Nolan Ryan, his control isn't the best, but fastballs, you keep them inside. Breaking stuff, you're going to go away. We'll change up one more time to Tion. Tion has a lot of good pitches. He has a slider. Against righties, the slider is huge. Definitely looks like it'll be in the zone. Obviously, we're playing against the computer, and we're on a higher difficulty, so they aren't going to offer at it. This is mainly just for pitching spots. Slider gets offered at a lot. Definitely a good pitch selection. Curveballs aren't necessarily the best. In 17, they're easy to read. Also, they went in the dirt a lot. They did not get blocked. In 18, though, it looks like the curveball will get blocked if it's in the dirt. Also, curveballs seem to be left in the zone a lot. Going up against a lefty batter with a righty pitcher, I like doing the same thing with jamming lefties with fastballs. Also, it might not be too bad if you have like a 2-0 count, a 2-1 count, maybe even a 3-0, 3-1 count, and you don't want to walk someone. Throwing it outside would not be a bad option to do. People don't necessarily realize that comes in, especially against a lefty. They might not be on it. It's like a not thrown pitch. And just like righties, I would recommend throwing the slider inside. Same spot to righties, but it's going to be inside to lefties. You just have to make sure with the sliders, though, and the off-speed stuff, that if it gets left in the zone, it will get pulled for a home run, most likely. It will get absolutely destroyed. Change up, same area. Love throwing it inside. I'm not really too sure what the meta is going to be for 18. I haven't really played online yet. I've just been playing offline until the game gets released. But also away with the palm balls aren't bad either. With lefties as well, and if you have a slider, you should be able to throw it inside. They might offer at it. The slider could be close enough where it seems like it's going to be right here, but it actually ends up inside. For a lefty-lefty matchup, going inside, definitely huge. Even high and in. If you have a good velocity left-hander, definitely go high and inside. It's not as easy to pick up as a righty-righty, but that's going to be your bread and butter, especially with the fastballs. With the slower guy, you're going to want to go off-speed away. A lot of guys offer at the off-speed pitches away. They're sitting fastballs because they can't time them up. A changeup inside might not be too bad as well, as they will be looking for the fastball. But I would recommend going outside with the off-speed stuff, inside with the fastballs. Maybe after a bit, he starts recognizing what you're doing to lefties with the lefty pitcher. You can always go to the safe pitch, which is generally outside. Their timing most likely isn't that going to be good on it. If it is, though, it could make you pay. But that's generally my safe pitch spot, especially if I'm throwing 90% of pitches away from that area. Now, going to a righty, it's similar to what we did with the right-handed pitcher against a lefty. You're going to want to go inside. It's going to be a little bit harder to place the balls. They could end up in the zone a little bit more, but definitely want to try to push that baseball inside. And unlike the lefties, all the breaking stuff is going to be inside. So same area as the right or as the left-handed batters, but it'll be inside as opposed to outside for them. You could go outside to the fastball, and maybe even a changeup. You could try to sneak it outside. The thing about pitching, though, and batting, you have to recognize patterns, and especially as a pitcher, you cannot fall in certain sequences. If you're throwing the same pitch in the same spot every time, someone's going to sit on it, and you're going to get destroyed. If you throw a fastball high and in a couple times and down low a couple times, they're going to be sitting on these two areas. You have to make sure if you throw a similar pitch as you did before and like a previous batter, maybe the one right before that, or just a previous pitch, you just threw a fastball, it's 0-1, 1-0. Have to make sure to mix up that location to keep the guy on his heels. You cannot allow him to pick up tendencies and have him try to guess what the pitch is going to be every time. Because once he figures out your tendencies, that's what I love doing. You just sit in that one spot, and as soon as you throw it in that area, it is crushed every single time. Have to be able to adapt. My last tip with lefties and righties and right-handed pitchers and left-handed pitchers, the cutter is going to be your friend to the opposite hitters. It's going to look like a fastball, but it will cut inside. You will get a lot of jammed hits. It'll look like it'll end up right here like a four-seamer, but it actually has some spin on it and will end up being inside. A lot of jammed hits and attempts. Hopefully I explained that well. If you guys have some questions, look in the comments section. See if other people have questions as well, similar to yours. If that hasn't been answered yet, make sure to comment. I'll be trying to help you guys out. Hopefully this helped you guys. The settings are a huge thing. Analog, definitely want to get used to it. Definitely want to use it a lot, as personally it leaves the minimal mistakes left out there from the computer to make. But yeah, make sure you leave a like, subscribe down below. This is Healy, and I am out. Peace.